All right. What's up, y'all? So it's the most crispy regular video. Lesson of what regular show understand about love that Adventure Time does not. See what's going on with this. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media. It's gonna pop on the screen. We is on the road to 500. If you know, you know. Make sure you subscribe. Subscribe. It's the biggest thing you need to do. It's free 99. Let's get on to this video though.
I think Regular Show and Adventure Time might be the two most similar shows Cartoon Network ever aired at the same time. They've got the same energy, same kind of audience, and they both decided to give their main characters absolute train wrecks for love lives. But when I actually went back and rewatched them, I noticed that they're saying really different things about love sometimes. And I think if you grew up on both of these shows, you probably absorbed one of those messages without realizing it. So both shows started their main characters in basically the same hole, and that hole, metaphorically speaking, actually has a clinical name, limerence. So limerence is what happens when you like someone so much that the real version of them slowly gets swapped out for this fantasy version that you've been building in your own brain without even realizing it. You're not in love with a person anymore, you're in love with a character that you invented and then cast them into without telling them. We did a whole video on how Finn and Mordecai both fall into limerence, and if you haven't seen that one, it's linked down below because this video is kind of a sequel to it, so go check that one out. Now, I'm not going to redo the whole thing here, but the short version is both of them spend years projecting onto girls who were never going to work out, Finn onto Bubblegum and Mordecai onto Margaret. And then both of them eventually find someone that's good for them. Finn gets with Flame Princess, who is his age and actually likes him back, and they genuinely look good together. Mordecai starts dating CJ, who is funny and sharp and gives him crap when he deserves it, and they have real chemistry, more than he ever had with Margaret. And for the first time, both of these guys are in something mutual and functional, and you're kinda rooting for them. And then they both blow it up from the inside. Finn starts having these really intense dreams about Flame Princess and the Ice King fighting, and the dreams are pretty clearly, let's say, charged. The subtext is not necessarily subtle. The boy is having some wet dreams about his girlfriend fighting an old man, and he gets so obsessed with seeing this dream and how it ends that he engineers the fight in real life, taking FP's personal secrets, putting them in a letter to the Ice King to bait him into attacking her, and sits back to watch.
That letter said things in it that only you would know. Personal things, Finn. And you used them against me.
Now, Mordecai's version...
Now, this is the question. Would y'all rather... if you had to stay with one of these, with out of Finn and Mordecai, and like whatever, like the whatever happened throughout the show, and you had to stay with them for a whole 2 weeks, would you rather stay with Finn or stay with Mordecai? Y'all comment down that below, because that's a low-key a tricky one, because imagine you have to stay 2 weeks at the park. Mordecai, love problems and stuff like this. He's this and that. And then you got to go to Adventure Time. Finn, love problems and stuff like that too. Y'all comment down below, let me know.
Moves a bit slower than that, but honestly, it's a bit more realistic and worse. The whole time he's with CJ, he still doesn't forget Margaret. He still has her on his mind. Then she comes back to town, and he doesn't tell CJ, and at the Christmas party, while his actual girlfriend is in the room, he kisses Margaret in a heat-of-the-moment kind of thing. Someone got hurt again because both of these guys couldn't get their own heads sorted out. Now, watch what each show does next, because this is what the whole purpose is for making this video. Adventure Time gives FP her own development arc where she processes the breakup, figures out who she is, gets over Finn, and even asks for his help as a friend to help her take the Fire Kingdom back. In the meantime, in an earlier episode, Finn immediately goes back to obsessing over PB because he just can't help himself, and he gets rejected again.
I thought we were having fun together.
Finn, I have citizens who need me. I can't always treat everything.
And like, Princess Bubblegum used to blow my stuff because I used to thought they actually was meant to be. Just to turn around, she liked to Marceline the whole time. And then I knew it. Because how the way she was, like, every time she used to, like, call him Barnaby, PB, and all. And you know, like, had the nicknames and stuff like that. I mean, golly.
Like a little boy game.
And so he retreats to the dungeon terrain, where he just fights monsters on a loop, because hitting things is the one mode where Finn's brain doesn't make him feel stuff. Jake is watching all of this like a dog who can smell something is wrong, but even he can't do anything about it. Adventure Time lets Finn keep making these bad decisions from time to time, and moves the camera to some other characters and storylines that are doing something interesting for now. Regular Show does the opposite, though. The show is much more focused on its smaller cast, and as a result, Mordecai doesn't get to skip past anything. After the Christmas gift, CJ is furious, and he spends the whole of the next episode trying to win her back with progressively terrible advice from this saxophone guy in the park, and...
No, that's wrong. That's the wrong episode. You saying that completely wrong. I think Margaret... Alright, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna tell you. Everybody should have watched Regular Show. If you didn't watch Regular Show, then I don't know. Like, I don't know where you was been at for the past 5 years or past decades of this. Margaret, I think, and it was like it was a steak episode. And the Bears that came back, want to be financial Freddy Bears, came back, shot the place up. Boom. I think it was Take Me Out of Day, something like that. Something like you get like the dollars and stuff like that. Boom. It was a scene that Mordecai and Margaret like finally got us some alone time. And Mordecai finally built the courage up to say, hey, I've been spending time with you and stuff like that. And, I was kind of pretty nervous to say you, but would you like to be my girlfriend? And she said, I would like to, but I can't. I'm going off to college. I got accepted to my dream college. This is big for me. He got hurt. He was playing that sad music about, 2 weeks straight, bro? He was sad. Then he got with CJ. Boom, he got with CJ. CJ caught feelings for him that quick, because allegedly, Mordecai was supposed to, they were supposed to go to see the robot movie? Yeah. Robot movie. So, the only reason why Mordecai had got hurt again, because it was Margaret cousin, the Orangeburg. We didn't know he had one leg. Got on his knee, and he's talking about, yes, dude, yes. And like Rippy started knocking on the door. W. Rippy. This is like earlier the stage Rippy. You know Rippy, how he was earlier stage. Boom, he's trying to help him, like stop him. He stopped, like when he went to the restroom, he said like, dude, stop. It sounded like something died in you. And he said, yeah, something did die in me. My heart. And then like, fast forward and stuff like that, we got to the Christmas party, boom, 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 CJ and Mordecai dating. Eileen, day before, was saying, yeah, Margaret back in town and stuff like that, and Mordecai started running. So Mordecai saw Margaret at the post, at the, right by the thing, and he started speed walking it, like, away. So then they kid, blah, blah, blah. He got sad and stuff like that. I think he went to Dumptown. He went to Dumptown twice, I think. No, the second time he went to Dumptown. That was CJ made him go to Dumptown. And then Rippy had to get him out because he had to get dumped, blah, 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 blah. And like something like that. I don't know. No, I think that gotta no. That gotta be Muscle Man.
He eventually does get her back. They reconcile in a hospital because naturally he ended up in a full body cast in the process. And for a second, you think, okay, maybe this is the wake up call. It is not the wake up call. Because Mordecai gets CJ back, but he doesn't actually fix the thing that broke them. The Margaret problem is still sitting right there, and now CJ knows that it's there, which means every interaction Mordecai has with Margaret from this point on is a live grenade. At the 1000th chopper flight party,
Yep.
CJ literally encourages him to go, says it's fine, and then shows up and sees him and Margaret just laughing together in a helicopter and goes full Stormcloud and nearly kills everyone at the party, which is maybe an overreaction, obviously, but also, can you really blame her? This man has given her exactly 0 reasons to feel secure about any of this. And then comes the double date episode. CJ is actually trying to be the bigger person here.
Yeah, I think Margaret had lied about. I'm thinking about. Yeah, Margaret lied about that rich dude. Talk about that's her boyfriend. Whole time that's not even her boyfriend. That's the dude who like she worked with and something like that. Whole time they went on that double date and she still had feelings for Mordecai, even though we knew. And like you could tell we knew. And then like after that, bro, like the show did not even try to push them to get back together or nothing like that. So this whole gap of Mordecai was trying to like find love was that stuff vanished. I think about season 6 or 7. I already know how y'all is. Exactly. Like look, shut the fuck up. When they get to that point, I think Mordecai was not even worried about love and nothing like that. They give us like they was trying to make them friends and stuff like that, blah blah blah. And I think that's when they was pushing Eileen and Rippy to be a thing and stuff like that. And then that happened, and I think in the end of the show, Mordecai got a new girl. It's a bad girl, and yeah.
And trust him and move past this. She invites Margaret out. Let's just do this, let's just be normal, right? Except Margaret has to fake having a boyfriend because she's terrified of CJ's temper, and the whole thing slowly implodes until CJ asks her point blank whether she still has feelings for Mordecai. And Margaret, to her credit, tells the truth. She does, and she also says she's tired of the awkwardness, tired of feeling like a tourist around her own friends, which is honestly heartbreaking because Margaret didn't do anything wrong here. She came back to town and her entire social circle had been rewired around one guy's inability to deal with his feelings, and now she's the outsider in a group that she used to be part of. So now everyone is getting hurt. Margaret can't hang out with her own friends without it being a whole thing. CJ can't trust her boyfriend because he has gone astray a few times and he hasn't given her a reason.
No, okay. She got mad at that man because that man ain't even looking her way. First of all, if I'm looking around, why would I want to look specifically at your face? Now I'm looking at somebody right behind you and behind you. Now that's going to make it 10 times weird. And if I'm pointing at everybody, that means I'm talking to everybody. I'm not talking just you. Now that had made me mad right there.
And reason to trust him, and Mordecai is standing in the middle of it all, doing absolutely nothing useful here. Then it all comes to a head at Muscle Man's wedding. Mordecai reads a letter from Muscle Man about finding your co-pilot in life and trusting your gut, and then instead of sitting down, he just keeps going. He starts rambling about he still doesn't know who his soulmate is, and how he's been ignoring his gut and making everyone miserable. CJ is, of course, hurt and angry over this, and dumps Mordecai yet again. She gives back the bracelet and walks out. And according to the show's creator, she didn't just leave Mordecai after that, she cut ties with everyone. All of the friends that surrounded him as well. One man's public drama and indecision cost her an entire circle of people. Then comes Dumptown, USA, a literal island of men in bathrobes who completely gave up after getting
I knew I was right. Knew I was right. Yes, it was after Muscle Man wedding. He went straight to Dumptown. I remember that.
dumped. They eat garbage and rot, and time basically stops. And Mordecai slides right in like he was built for this place. Beard grown out, dead behind the eyes, and at one point he catches his reflection in a saxophone and just stares at it because he doesn't even recognize himself anymore. Regular Show built this bachelor pad paradise into a trash purgatory because the show believes something that Adventure Time doesn't, which is that the person who caused the damage has to actually sit in it and try to reflect on their own behavior before they can earn the right to leave it behind. And to get Mordecai out of this stupor, Rigby has to ask Eileen to fake break up with him because the only way onto the island is to have been dumped. This man has to literally blow up his own healthy relationship just to enter the zip code that Mordecai's terrible ones put him in. Funniest thing the show has ever done with its own thesis, and I like how it mixes the metaphorical with the literal here.
Max Rigby is a W friend, even though he was he had mixed things in the first few seasons. But hey, he came back and changed as a person though.
So Adventure Time thinks
Shout
the
out
best
to
story
Eileen,
after love goes
Eileen
wrong
Rippey.
is
And
what the
that's
hurt
nigga
person
go.
becomes. And FP's arc is genuinely a great argument for that, but it means Finn kind of just drifts away. Regular Show thinks the important story here is why it went wrong, and it keeps the camera on Mordecai until he's felt every single consequence. Different priorities, and neither is wrong, it's just a different perspective on a situation, but they produce completely different ideas about what their growth costs and what the focus is in the show, and that is where this gets a bit interesting. So there's basically two ways people actually change, and the difference matters more than you think. The first one is when you hit a wall and you look at yourself, you go, okay, I need to do something different, I need to upend things, I need to drastically rethink things. The advice doesn't have to be smart or original or deep, it can be the most obvious boring thing anyone has ever sent to you. It could just be very simple advice like, oh, just make your bed every day, and that's basically just the start, but you have to actually start it, right? It just has to be followed, and this kind of change has like a really concrete start date sometimes where people hit that rock bottom, like you can just point to where it kicked in, and it's not necessarily the most pleasant thing to go through because it can be a hard stop and sometimes you don't bounce back up. The second way to change is that you don't really decide
I'm not
anything.
gonna hurt you. I feel like deep inside, Mordecai should have got back. I feel like they should have made an episode Margaret actually had like feelings for that. Like she was not playing with this man and stuff like that. I feel like they should have tried to push that narrative of him and Margaret getting back together though, low key. Then him ended up with that back chick. I'm for real. I feel like him and Margaret should have ended up together. Or they should have made like a 3-way relationship with him, Margaret, and freaking CJ.
At all. It doesn't really get to that final point. Enough stuff just keeps happening to you over a long enough stretch of time that eventually the old version of you just either slowly shifts to accommodate itself or it just can't hold itself together anymore and something new starts showing up in its place. It is slower and messier, and you definitely can't put a date on it, but it doesn't come with a big shock. It sometimes comes with its ups and downs as well. I think Regular Show runs the first one, and Adventure Time runs the second one. So after Dumptown, Rigby's advice to Mordecai, after he just hit rock bottom here, is to just forget about dating for a while and focus on the other stuff in his life. Just put that on pause for a bit.
You want simple? Take a break from dating, man. Forget about the chicks and just focus on what's best for Mordecai.
It sounds like something your mom would tell you while handing you a plate of food. And honestly, that tracks because the only useful advice Sad Sax Guy gave Mordecai earlier in the show was also literally to just go talk to your mom.
No, I mean, go ask your mom for advice, brother. They know everything, especially when it comes to women.
Regular Show is genuinely committed to the idea that most emotional problems have embarrassingly simple answers to actually implement, but it's the process that might take some time and effort. We just don't want to hear those simple answers or pursue them because simple feels like it shouldn't count, and sometimes we just need to hear it from someone else too. But the boring advice actually works most of the time. In Mordecai's case, this dude had a whole identity crisis underneath all the messy relationship drama that he's been ignoring for the entire show. He's an art school dropout, and actually part of the reason he never went to college in the first place is because Rigby intercepted his acceptance letter and forged a rejection letter in its place so that they wouldn't get separated, which is a whole thing from the movie. But even after that, Mordecai went to art school at some point and then dropped out of that too because he tried to draw someone in class and
Because there was no, like, in general, Loki, Rigby Loki did him a favor. He was going to drop out regardless. So eventually he was going to work in the park. So that movie was kind of low-key pointless, but it was low-key kind of good, though. I really liked the movie, though, because it really did explain why Mordecai and Rigby did not end up going to college. Low-key. That was a good thing. I'm glad Regular Show actually did that.
Went so badly that he literally ran away crying. He let that one moment kill his confidence in the one thing that he was actually good at and would have gone somewhere and he would have enjoyed. So he ended up at the park working a random job that had nothing to do with who he is and is just heavy labor work, and he's trying to spend these 7 seasons of the show trying to fill that gap with a relationship and to find meaning in his life. And the relationship stuff never worked out because you can't outsource a sense of self-guilt and trying to pass the time with a relationship, and you can't pass that on to another person, a partner. It's not what girlfriends are for. They're their own people, and you want to have to support them as much as you want to support yourself, and you have to be in the right place to do that. Mordecai takes...
He's right about that. He's very right about that. I'm not gonna hold you. He's right about all of that.
Rigby's advice. He picks up the paintbrush again, and the show kind of skips that whole thing. We don't really see the process of him getting back into art, but and he meets Steph there, another artist, at a show that was displaying both of their work, so he did get somewhere. Quintel and the writing team were pretty open about this being intentional. Quintel said that after everything that happened with Margaret and CJ, he knew there was no way Mordecai could get either of them back, that the true reality for him was that there's a lot of other people in the world, and he learned from his mistakes and moved on.
Yeah, but what y'all think? You know, like, that's kind of crazy. He did a bird, a flower, now a bat. Like, I think that's lucky. He could have got like a land creature. Or like I don't even know, bro. Like some like I don't even know. But yeah, bad. Not that bad though.
And Owen Dennis, one of the other writers, said that he appreciated that the show didn't have Mordecai ending up with his first love, because real dating is messy and complicated and rarely ends with the person you started with, and that Steph is into art like Mordecai, and this is a deep-seated passion of his, and he met her somewhere along the way, and one thing led to another, and now they seem peaceful and happy with each other. He found someone while pursuing the career and the meaning that he thought he was distracting himself with originally. This is the argument that the show has always made with all of its relationships. Be true to yourself, pursue what you enjoy, hang out with people that you like, be a better version of who you are, and just accommodate yourself to the people around you and your environment, and love will follow. It's inevitable at that point. Now, there's no Dumptown USA for Finn, and there's no fortune cookie advice from someone like Rigby, and there's no moment where he decides to be different. And that's by design. There's no immediate moment. Jeremy Shada was 12 years old when he started voicing Finn, and his voice literally broke on air across the seasons, and the show just let it happen. That was part of the character. Then they aged the character with the actor on purpose and made him develop as the actor did. Finn was built to grow up with the audience so that you'd watch him change the same way that you watch a friend change, because you can't really tell exactly when it happens. You were both in it the whole time, and it happens slowly.
Boy, I ain't lying to you. Skip story is low-key kind of sad, bro, because low-key, he was skipping with that girl every time. Then he was, like, he changed his old ways just to be with that girl. Man, bro, like, and that ain't no love, boy. I don't know what to tell you, son. That's love right there, bro. All because dude wanted to fight him.
Mordecai is 23 for the entire run of the show, and then the epilogue jumps forward a bunch of years, and then he's got a gallery and a wife and 3 kids. His growth had a before and an after. Finn's growth is a continual process that we get to witness, so the shows show us different parts, different moments, and different processes. For example, after Flame Princess, a lot of life happens to Finn afterwards. He's going through all of the other stuff, right? Yep. He meets his deadbeat dad, he loses his arm, he builds a...
And that's one thing I hate about this show, too. Finn dad should never would have been a deadbeat. And low key, I'm not gonna hold you. Finn mom kind of was low key kind of that was a dumb decision. She really put her body into the little machine so she could like stay around the people, and so she could take care of running people and stuff like that. Because I remember Susan came back out of nowhere. Mind you, these people was living under the water. But Susan was living with Finn. With Finn mama was like was being at. And then like, bro, they got split apart through the ocean, and somehow, some way, Finn dad just been a deadbeat dad. And that's not cool being a deadbeat dad. For all the deadbeat dads out there, if you're a deadbeat to your kids, you need your ass whooped. I said what I said. But in general, though, I hated how they wrote it. And then Finn was really trying to communicate and trying to talk to the dude. And the dude trying to have no type of attention to this dude. And at the end of the story, he just like said, man, my dad was never in my life and stuff like that. That's why I'm glad Jake dad and mom actually took care of him, bro. I'm not even gonna hold you. They was more real daddy than his real dad himself. Real talk.
Tower to space, singing.
Baby's building a tower into space.
Hey.
Space is where he's gonna find his dad.
I know that's
And then
right.
in season 6, the show tries to deal with all of this emotional wreckage in Breezy, where Finn is clearly just numb at this point and going around kissing random princesses, trying to feel anything at all, and none of it is working. The facade of relationships and love. And the flower on his arm, his hope and his vitality, it keeps wilting. So a bee named Breezy becomes his wingman and thinks to help him out in exchange for being close to that flower. It falls for him, but he doesn't exactly feel the same way. It's a bee. Then with Breezy having been hurt and gone near the end of the episode, he ends up being low-key assaulted by LSP, which is pretty obviously AT's way of saying that this kid is using physical stuff to fill an emotional hole, and his arm flowers to him in his sleep, and he hallucinates PB, and his arm magically grows back, and now he has this newfound love for heroism, and the episode just kind of ends. So this one was definitely confusing for a lot of people, and how the flower and the bee related to him, and how this all works. You can feel the show wanting Finn to have grown from all of this, but it crammed a lot of lessons into this 11 minutes with a character who from all of this, but
That's a real question. How did he really walk like that, head dragging it and stuff like that? I don't even think nobody in real life could really do it.
it crammed a lot of lessons into this 11 minutes with a character who never comes back, and it feels like AT tried to microwave something that needed to slow cook a bit more, maybe over the course of a couple episodes, and instead we kind of get this rushed ending here and we don't really understand it immediately. But then in the episode Flute Spell in Season 7, you can finally kind of see the growth and its after effects. Finn has been going to this spot in a river and playing music alone. He's seemingly peaceful and doing his own thing. Huntress Wizard finds him and they start hunting together, and Finn starts helping her out with a thing. But they admit that they've been playing for each other the whole time without saying it. When Finn finally admits how he feels, she kisses him and says this.
But exceptional beasts like us cannot fall in love.
I wouldn't say she's making a
And she's saying that, and they end up being in love at the end of the show. So really, Finn really low-key found his true lover with another girl. And mind you, he was in love with two different girls, and both of them not work. That's the thing about regular show and Adventure Time. And it really teaches you in real life that you could have so many girlfriends, so many things, but it will always be somebody truly deep down inside that will truly love you just for you. That's why I say everybody should at least go have a few relationships. Just don't stay in one relationship. You got at least, because you're young. You're not old. You're young. Go have fun. Go find love, bro. Love, like, it's out there, bro. Love is out there. Some of it maybe not be out there. It just depends. You just never know.
Philosophical argument or anything. She's just describing her own wound. She became a wizard because she was terrified of being vulnerable. And Finn gets it because he's living the same thing from the other side. He's been broken enough times that he's sitting in a river playing music for a girl that he can't bring himself to talk to just yet. They're both messed up in their own way, and they both know that the timing isn't right.
Attracting forces come and go, man.
Finn was dipping his toe in a lot more carefully than he was before. But the funny thing to note about what Huntress Wizard said is that Jake is standing right there. He's literally a magical beast in a happy relationship with another magical beast, Lady Rainicorn. So her entire theory about exceptional beasts not being able to fall in love is being disproved by the life of the guy standing 3 feet from her. The show is telling you that she's wrong and that she has her own pain to deal with, and that's through Jake's entire existence in that scene, just standing right next to her. And it also respects that neither she or Finn is ready for that lesson just yet. The good part about this slower approach is that they don't leave each other alone after this. We can see more of these characters and how they interact over time. In The Wild Hunt, Finn can't fight anymore because he's paralyzed with guilt over mowing the lawn with Fern, and Huntress doesn't give him a speech. She actually trusts him well enough to throw herself in front of a charging monster so that he has to act the hero or watch her die. She risks her own life to break his mental block because she knew him that well. That's someone who knows what the other's damage is well enough to know what they need in that moment. In Fiona and Cake Season 2, Huntress Wizard gets blown apart across dimensions trying to save Finn from dying, and she then uses every scattered piece of herself to become the new heart of the forest so that she can heal him. The woman who said,
Fear of softness is what drove me to the mad and sad world of wizarding.
literally became the heart that sustains all of the life in the forest because the alternative was losing Finn. It took 15 years and a multiverse for two people who clearly felt something for each other to actually be ready to take that leap. Sometimes you don't end up in a relationship and you don't need to cut to that moment. Sometimes it takes time, and later on, you might end up in a different situation. It's growth through accumulation, through gradual change. You can't really pinpoint an exact moment where a change happened, and you can't speed it up either. You just keep going through it, and eventually you're not who you used to be anymore. So both of these shows get you somewhere.
And that right there, that's the meaning of life, relationship, or anything in general. It might take you some years to find the one, but just go out there and at least try to experience love, bro. Because sitting here and just being lonely and caring what other people's opinions and stuff like that, you will get nowhere with in life. As long as you worry about you or whoever you like in the meanwhile of that time, you're doing good.
Real, and they're both really entertaining at the same time, but they don't cost the same thing. Here's what I honestly think too. AT's model is, I think, more honest about how messy real growth is, and it introduces conflict in multiple ways into that aspect. Real people don't come out of Dumptown fixed after a single conversation with their raccoon friend. Sometimes it takes a lot longer than that, and hitting quote-unquote rock bottom multiple times. It's not really a thing. Real change is non-linear most of the time, and full of regression, and going forward and back, and sometimes it takes a decade of accumulated damage, and trauma, and healing yourself, and going through other things, and changing before anything really shifts at all. And AT never lied about that, but AT is also really good at telling you what love isn't, and kind of quiet about what it is. Ice King is the most devastating portrait of obsessive love in any cartoon ever made, and it's what you should not do. He's a man whose fixation on a lost love literally rewrote his personality and left him cycling through princess substitutes without knowing why. In the future, when Simon is telling Betty, "I stood by and allowed you to sacrifice yourself for me," it's AT reaching back into its own romanticized relationships between an obsessive man and the princesses, and calling that what it was. PB tells Bracco, "What you're feeling is called infatuation. The pain is the product of you overvaluing a projected imaginary relationship with me." And that line is aimed at a throwaway character when the person who needed to hear it most was Finn. AT even knows that naming the disease directly to someone's face still won't cure them. But when love is actually working in AT, where is it? Well, Jake and Lady Rainicorn barely share screen time, but it's plenty there when we do see it. PB and Marceline happened across centuries and mostly between scenes, and is also hinted at a lot of the time. Huntress Wizard and Finn took 15 years and a multiversal crisis. AT is extraordinary at the autopsy and almost silent about the living thing. It doesn't show the end results as much as the changing over time. You can understand everything love isn't and still have no idea how to build one. It's not a great guide, per se. Regular Show is worse at the diagnosis. There's no infatuation speech, there's no Ice King. Mordecai just makes the same mistake 7 times, and the show's answer is roughly, stop doing that. But Regular Show shows you the construction and the reality of making the same mistakes over and over again. Rigby goes back to school because he wanted to be enough for his girlfriend, and that hits home for a lot of people who want to be better and continue developing. She also, by the way, loved him from the start, even when he was an insecure little mess, so he went through his own journey. Mordecai picking up the paintbrush that he put down years ago is really a great final scene, but it is a huge jump from when the characters actually went through all the messes. The show's answer to your love life has nothing to do with pursuing love. Build a life that doesn't need a relationship to feel complete, and then bring that life to someone who did the same thing. Make a decision about who you want to be is something you can start tomorrow or today. It's every moment, really. Both lessons are true, but you shouldn't have to hit rock bottom in order to change. And if you're still actually in the part of the story that looks more like Finn's side of things, someone still stuck on someone, still feeding something that only exists in your head, still orbiting a person or an idea that you've never fully seen clearly, then the last video is right here. Because it actually turns out that cartoons understood your love life then.
We'll have to watch that then. But hey though, love is love. And however you take you think what love is to you, go with it. And that if you make mistakes in love, it is what it is. It's life. We're humans at the end of the day. And you just gotta take chances. But hey, Hope y'all enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow our social media, pop on the screen. We is on the road to 500. I'm out. Love y'all. And I'm out.